Having become a staple accompaniment for the discerning gentleman, cigars derive character, class, and joy. The mix is the perfect accompaniment to a fine scotch. The mix makes a most relaxing pastime. Cigars have been around for many decades now, and many famous personalities from John F. Kennedy to Arnold Schwarzenegger have been consistently smoking cigars. But do you know how cigars came from a small town and reached the entire world, and how fine cigars are handmade? Hello guys, welcome to our channel, How It's Made. Today, this video takes an inside look into how fine cigars are made. But before jumping into the video, please consider subscribing to our channel if you're new here. Also hit the bell icon to get a notification whenever we upload a new video. That said, let's begin. History of tobacco and cigars. Once considered a gift from the gods, tobacco underwent a long journey, but few people know that throughout its history, tobacco boosted the existence of nations and has almost been the cause of war, and it all comes back to Mexico. The shamans of ancient Mesoamerica have been using the leaves of plants from the genus Nicotiana as early as 1400 BC. When the leaves were smoked through a pipe, it was believed that the smoke would carry one's thoughts and prayers to the gods. From Mexico, the tobacco plants have been introduced to the countries of North and South America. The tradition of tobacco smoking was especially nurtured by the Native Americans north of Mexico, but tobacco became a social drug, smoked not only at religious ceremonies or as a medicine, but also to seal a treaty or agreement. It was the Taino Indians who first used the word tobacco, which was adopted into English later as tobacco quickly became one of the most traded resources by the Indians, partially because of its purported health effects. Since tobacco has grown all along the East Coast and the Caribbean islands, an enormous amount of workers were needed to work in tobacco fields. Most of these workers were enslaved in Africa and brought to the Americas. Next to sugar, tobacco was the second biggest driver of the slave trade until around 1800, when cotton was introduced. Up until the late 19th century, the invention of the cigarette tobacco was predominantly smoked through a pipe or puffed with a cigar. Short cigar history. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue and discovered tobacco in Cuba. In the late 1600s, the construction of the cigar as we know it today was created in Spain. In the 1800s, the Cuban cigar industry began. In the 1920s, cigar was on the decline due to the crash of 1929 World War I and the Industrial Revolution. In the 1950s and 60s, Fidel Castro was responsible for the Cuban Revolution, which in turn caused a mass exodus of cigar makers to other countries. The 1900s, otherwise known as the cigar boom in US, showed a significant uptick in cigar importation, with a 4% increase in 1992 followed by continued growth through the years all the way up to an astonishing 66% in 1996. That leads us to the 2000s, and beyond, the US and Cuba has continued to move towards lifting the Cuban embargo. Cuban and these cigars cannot be sold in the US, however you can purchase them in other countries. How cigars are made. It all starts with the tobacco leaves. The plants are carefully pruned so the leaves develop to the necessary size. Plants that create the outer wrappers of cigars are usually kept covered with cloth to shield them from the sun. The plants take several months to ripen in the fields. After harvesting, the tobacco leaves must be cured in order to produce their characteristic aroma. The leaves are cured when they have passed from green flexible colored leaves to dried down or yellowish color leaves. Chemically, the naturally ensuing chlorophyll in the leaf slowly breaks down and is substituted by carotene. To cure, the reaped plants are strung to thin strips of wood called laths. The laths are dangled from the ceiling of a well-ventilated curing barn. In dry weather, they may cure only by hanging. This process is known as air curing. The leaves may also be flue cured. In this method, the laths are hung in a little barn which is heated from 90 to 170 degrees. The temperature must be carefully observed in order to stop extreme rapid drying. Sawdust or hardwood may also be burned in the curing barn to help in drying the leaves and imparts an aroma. Next up, these are fermented. After the leaves are cured, they are differentiated by color and size. Small or broken leaves are used for the cigar filler, large leaves for the inner wrapper or binder, and large, fine leaves, mainly grown in the shade or under the cloth, are set aside for the outer wrapper. The leaves are hooked into bundles called hands of 10 or 15 leaves each. These hands are loaded in boxes or in large casks called hogsheads. The tobacco is stowed in the hogshead for a period from 8 months to 5 years. The leaves experience chemical changes during this period directed to fermentation. During fermentation, the aroma and flavor of the leaf develop. Cigar tobacco is usually fermented longer than any other tobacco. Fermentation for 3 to 5 years is typical for high-quality cigars. After fermentation, the leaves are stored again by highly trained workers. The filler leaves must have the stem removed or else the cigar will not burn evenly. This can be done by hand or machine. Manually, a worker with a sharp knife fitted to his or her finger clips the vein near the tip and pulls it down. Then, the employee stacks the stripped leaves in piles. Mechanically, a worker inserts the tobacco leaves into a machine under a grooved circular knife. By depressing a foot treadle, the employee causes the knife to lower and cut out the vein. The employee can stop the machine with the foot treadle and stack the leaves. The leaves are encased in bales and stored for further fermentation. The bales may be exported at this point if final production rooms are elsewhere. Just before the leaves are keen for manufacture to cigars, they are boiled to restore lost humidity and sorted again. Fine quality cigars are rolled by hand. Cigar rolling is skilled work. It may take several years for a roller to become professional. The filler must be filled evenly for the cigar to burn smoothly, and the outer wrapper should be wound in an even spiral around the cigar. Hand cigar makers usually work in small factories. Each worker sits at a small table with a tray of sorted tobacco leaves on it and space to roll out the cigar. First, the worker picks from 2 to 6 leaves for the filler. These leaves are placed on top of one another and rolled into a bunch. Then, the worker places the pack on the binder leaf and rolls the binder leaf cylindrically around the filler. The undone cigars are placed in an open wooden mold that holds them in shape until they can be wrapped. Wrapping is the most difficult step. The employee takes the partly completed cigar out of the mold and positions it on the wrapper leaf. With a special rounded knife called the shaveter, the employee trims off any irregularities from the filler. Then the employee wags the wrapper leaf around the filler and binder 3.5 times and blocks it at the end with a small amount of vegetable paste. The employee trims a small round piece out of a different wrapper leaf. This is occasionally done by tracing around a coin. This circle is then tied to the end of the cigar with paste. The employee has finished the cigar, though it still must be tested, sorted, and packed. Cigars that pass intense inspection are placed on trays and passed to banding and wrapping machine. An employee positions the cigars in a hopper and the machine places a band around them. The same machine may also dress the cigars in cellophane. The ringed cigars may be also passed to workers expert in sorting by shade. They sort the different cigars finished according to minute variations in wrapper color. Cigars with the same wrapper shade are then boxed together and it's ready to be staked in the lips for a quality smoke time. Here are some of the most expensive cigars. Number 3, Gurkha, His Majesty's Reserve, $750 per stick. Beautifully aged, this 15-year-old cigar's production is limited to 100 boxes a year, and a cigar enthusiast will need to pre-order a few years before to get a taste of them. Number 2, King of Denmark, $4,500 per stick. These cigars can be customized according to the buyer's liking. They can choose to add a gold foil with their name inscribed on it, and they can also add precious stones and diamonds to it. Number 1, Mayan Cigars, $500,000. This cigar is the world's most expensive cigar. The vintage cigar is 600 years old and was found in a village in 2012. They are all well preserved and can still be smoked. And that's it, guys. Let us know if you found this video informative in the comment section below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more informative videos. See you in the next one.